I was listening to the Apostle the other day, and her words of advice were very encouraging. May God bless her. I said, wow. I started to rejoice. In times of difficulty, pray. I've been hearing the word smile. I remember my church friend telling me to meditate on Jesus. The best words I've heard. I give him my heart. I give Jesus my heart. So bogged down, so weighed down by what I see around me. May my heart be caught up in God's peace, that peace that surpasses all understanding. I think for some time now, during 2020, when the news of COVID was announced on the media, I kept hearing the words, save, save, save. Culture shock. You know, it's been such a blessing living among cultures, living in London, England, and living in Lagos, Nigeria, and living in the United States. What I liked about England, I was welcomed for who I am, an African, a girl with brown skin and a different skin texture, and a different texture of hair. I remember Princess and her friends. I remember my sister's friends and how cheerful and joyful my sister Princess had always been during that period of her life. I remember the photographers that came to take pictures of the children of African origin because we were allowed to wear African attire on one day instead of our school uniforms. I had a gracious upperclassman, a pupil who had thought to bring extra African clothes and let me borrow her clothes. She did the same thing for me the following year. The children of African descent were in the newspapers. I was featured on the front cover of the newspaper twice in a row for 2 years. My dad was so happy when he got the newspaper. He sent it to Nigeria to have it stored in his room of treasures. When I had asked years later about my things he had sent there, he said his family had taken it. My family was not always up to date on what happened at school. As a matter of fact, when we had school dances, my dad didn't let us go because he didn't believe I was telling the truth at the time. There was a time we did physical activities and sports. Princess and I did track. On one occasion, Princess had won the race but ran around the track 2 more times with 2 other female opponents. They stopped when they realized it was all right to stop running. We laughed about it. I hope one day my siblings can write the story of their lives. I'd like to see how they saw life growing up through their own perspectives. Going back to the school dance. After a while, Dad told me if there's a letter of proof to show there's a school dance, then he would let me and my siblings go. I had a nice time. No one danced with me, but after many months of trying to convince Dad for me to go, I finally went to the school dance with my siblings and my aunt. My headmaster, or what you would call in the United States, school principal, honored us. He honored the Africans, the British Africans, African Americans, British Africans that lived in London. He really honored us. May God bless his family. He was so kind and had a softness, a tenderness in his eyes. My 9th grade teacher treated me in similar fashion at St. John's College High School. For some reason, I never smiled growing up. I guess that is why I hear the word smile in my mind from time to time. My 9th grade teacher was my homeroom teacher and my lead teacher. I was at a military high school and didn't want to go to the military portion of it. I opted to go to the traditional portion, and it was called lead. My homeroom teacher is what I would call my teacher of teachers, who received I and other students in the morning at school. In her class, I gave speeches with the help of my dad, as I had asked him to hear me give my speech. He really enjoyed it and added some jokes and told me how important it is for me to look up at the class and look briefly at my paper. I remember when I was in middle school, I was going to a tutoring foundation that was called Growing Together in Washington, D.C. Teresa and her sister ran the organization. It was a free program for children and adults who were lagging behind in school. I enjoyed the fig Newtons and juice that were offered. I had 3 different tutors at that stage of my life. A guy tutor was of Cuban descent, a female tutor, short in stature. She gave me a book about Monet as a teenager, and till this day I can recognize Monet's paintings. After tutoring me, she got a promotion to work in California, and another tutor was of German descent, who helped me realize I needed eyeglasses to see. I also remember two teachers and a student took an interest to see me do well in school. One teacher was from Cuba, the other was from the Philippines, and the student was born and raised in the United States. I'm very grateful for the people in my life that helped me excel in school. God bless them all. I don't know how much progress I would have made on my own had I not had the community of people that were nurturing my growth and development. May God bless them.